Good day, everyone. Ali Safi here, Safi Financial Network, September 16, 2025. Here is another daily analysis, S&P 500. We had kind of like a choppy day today and closed negative, a very wacky day. Market just going all the way down to the negative territory, then hitting this wide range bar, middle of this wide range bar, and came back up, going to the positive, and then ended up pretty flat negative, I would say the session. Market is kind of like a hesitant about tomorrow's Fed meeting because tomorrow we will have Federal meeting. Everyone is kind of like, I would say, like more than 95%. They're betting on 25 basis. However, Donald Trump, just during the weekend, he had like a press conference and he said that Federal Reserve is gonna cut the rate a lot. So that tells market that potentially market or Federal Reserve is gonna cut the rate more, or at least he pushes actually pressure on the Jay Powell to cut the rate more. So market for the last 2 days took it as like a more than 50 basis or more than I would say at least 25 versus more than that. And right now market is kind of like a hesitant. If Powell disappoint the market by just 25 basis, it was expectation last week, but this week seems like market is just expecting more and rising their expectations. So that's going to be bad news for the market, and potentially that can disappoint the market to the downside. And also the verbiage is going to be very important. If Jay Powell is saying something about like a data dependent again decisions down the road, or we are not sure if the job market is strong or not, or we are not going to cut the rate more, and we don't know exactly what's going to happen for the rest of the year. So that would be very, very tricky and kind of like I would say disappointment news for the market. And I believe that Jay Powell is going to say the same thing. So we will see how it goes. But market is overstretched, overbought anyway, if you slice it and dice it. And I know that I was waiting for this correction. Potentially, I don't know. Potentially the correction is coming starting from tomorrow. So we will see how market is going. But if we see some kind of like a parabolic move to the upside, if we get to 7,000 area or something like that, even after this meeting, if market doesn't pay attention to what Powell says, or if verbiage is kind of like aligning with a Powell expectation or market expectations, that would be kind of like parabolic move to the upside. So no one knows exactly. That's going to be a flip coin for the market to see what's going to be tomorrow's decision. But based on the cycles, as I said, based on the seasonality, I'm waiting for this. Like it's been more than a month of waiting for this correction, and I'm just looking for this correction is coming. So 5-10% correction would be very healthy for the market before the next rally to the upside to year-end rally all the way to 6,900 to 7,000 area for S&P 500. So we will see how it goes. Moving on to Nasdaq. Nasdaq is kind of like again the same scenario here. We got a pretty nice doji bar. I would say this is a Graveston doji on the top. So this is kind of like the sell signal or sell warning, but we need to have a confirmation, especially in this momentum. Whenever we saw some kind of like a sharp sell-off, market just about back again after 2-3 days, or even kind of like a 5% correction and less than 5% getting back to the upside. We need to see this again line. This line is at 23,000. Let's put it like a 23,000. So if market or Nasdaq gets below this 23,000 area, that would be pretty kind of like a sharp decline to the upside or bad news for the market, or we are getting into the corrective territory. So we should just wait and see. But 23,000, it's going to be like another 1,200 below. So Nasdaq needs to go all the way down to here, and we need to break below this. If we break below this to 20,000 to 21,000, that's going to be a very, very nice support and very good institutional level for buying again the same stocks, and we will get to that one. But right now, I would say market has a nice, pretty good momentum to the upside. Any correction actually bought back by investors and traders. However, we are getting to a euphoria situation, 24,000 area. That's going to be my year-end actually target. Right now, we are above this. So I'm kind of like a cautious at this stage of the game and waiting for a correction to see how market is reacting to those correction or corrective levels. Moving on to the Dow, let me go to daily chart here. So Dow, it's forming not a ugly, not a beautiful bullish consolidation. I would say this is an ugly bullish consolidation. Why ugly? Because if you see that here is the white range bar, but within this white range bar, we got a bear flag here or bearish harami, and this is a nice bear flag is forming. So usually I don't like to see this. I like this. I like this. So from half of this wide range bar, we see consolidation. From half of this wide range bar, we see consolidation. Again, the same thing, consolidation. But right now, we are just going up and then down and forming consolidation here. So this means this is not good bull flag. Actually, this is a bull flag, but within this bull flag, it's just forming a nice bear flag. So if it triggers to the downside, if it goes below this area, which is going to be 45,400, 45,300, then we can see a sharp sell-off to 42, 43,000 area. So we will see how it goes with this Dow Jones, but all in all, I should say market is just poised for another sell-off to the downside, and I'm just waiting for that one. Gold at the same time just hitting new all-time high today, 3,700 hit, and that is remarkable for gold. Still, we are not getting any kind of like a sizable pullback. I'm waiting for sizable pullback to this area to 34 to 3,500 for a great buying opportunity, which I believe that potentially if Federal Reserve just bring the rates like a 25 paces rate cut and then hawkish verbiage that can strengthen the dollar and push pressure on the gold and precious metals. They can go down. So we will see how it goes if that comes along with each other. Moving on to crude. No, before crude, actually, let's go to silver first, and then we can go back to the crude. So silver just hit this box, which is this reversal box, I would say target box for me for this year. And the silver hit that one, just rejected. Still forming a consolidation. Again, depends on the Fed session. Precious metals are very, very sensitive to tomorrow's Fed meeting. So we will see how it goes. But if silver and gold is going down, I would say $40 could be the scenario for silver as a like a nice back test. And that trend line back test could be a great kind of like a buying opportunity for short-term traders. Moving on to crude. Crude is just forming a pretty nice W pattern here. So let me show you here. I would say crude is potentially formed a bottom. So this would be the cycle bottom for crude if we get above this $66 per barrel. And if it breaking through, that's not just this W pattern. It's kind of like a breaking this important dynamic trend line here. So that is very, very important just because this is a long term, I would say since October 2023, long term momentum to the downside. And this momentum is about to break to the upside. And that would be kind of like 80 to 83 and even 90 to 97. So that would be very nice scenario for crude. And we will see how it goes because if we break above this $70, then pull back, going all the way up to 80, and then potentially we're going to see a sideways consolidation for another rally potentially to $97 area. So I would say when I see especially military defensive names, they are kind of like getting to the optic momentum and kind of like a bullish momentum. And that it comes along with crude and energy stocks, which we are deep dive into those energy stocks as well at the end of this video. You will see that all of them are getting a bullish formation. So this tells me one thing, and that would be geopolitical tension potentially in west of Asia. And that would be kind of like a concerning because lots of like a Persian Gulf countries are there, and again Iran and Israel, and we will see. So there are up to the news that potentially it's going to be another geopolitical tensions. Right now, we don't know exactly what's going to happening or not, but that would be the potential scenario. Everyone needs to keep an eye on that one. Moving on to individual names, starting with Bitcoin. Bitcoin just hike up today, 116,000. And this is the area that I'm looking at for Bitcoin to show the reversal. Potentially the reversal is happening. Also, I just want to mention something. When Bitcoin doesn't go to new all-time high and the stock market goes to new all-time high, this tells us something that potentially early signal for the market, for the stock market, is going to be Bitcoin cannot go to new all-time high. It doesn't follow the stock market. It's kind of like a lagging, and that's going to be a warning signal for the market, stock market. Moving on to Ethereum. Ethereum is the same. As I said before, this is the area for sell right now. Ethereum is just going down. So again, keep an eye on this 4,100 to 4,000 area, because if we break below this 3,000 would be very potential scenario. Bond yield at the same time just going lower today, and everything is depending on tomorrow's Fed meeting. Right now, it is at a very strong support here, but I would say even within a bounce or something, that's going to be just a bounce. And then a next target for the bond yield is going to be less than 3%. So keep an eye on that one, especially in 2026. I would say that's going to be the scenario. And when bond yield is going down, usually stock market is gonna following the bond yield as well. Bond yield is down, usually the stock market is gonna go down as well, following the bond yield. TLT, Treasury bond, at the same time just going higher. And this tells me that this trend line has been broken. And right now, even a pullback could be a great kind of like a buying opportunity for TLT, because Treasury can go all the way up to 102 to 105, which is kind of like a short term, I would say, target. Because after that, I'm just looking for kind of like a more than that, but I'm not going to release that one. But this is like the short term, potentially by end of this year, you're going to see 102 to 103 or even 105 a target for Treasury. Dixie at the same time going down to a very important support here. If you just zoom back here, I'm just telling you why this is very, very important trend line here. So this trend line goes back all the way to 2011, 2021. And here we are testing this. So if we break below this, that would be a very important game changer for Dixie and dollar. So dollar is going to get weaker and weaker down the road. And that would be the scenario that stock market is going to go down as well, because that means money printing is coming. And whenever money printing is coming, this is not a good news for stock. I know everyone is saying, hey, rate cut is going to be great. No, they are not going to bring the rate down for a good reason. Just be careful on that one. VIX, it's just poising up nicely, 4% uptick today. And I would say VIX is bottom. And we should see some kind of like a nice rally to the upside. And believe that, look at these kind of like a trend line here, and we are not getting to the lower low. Actually, we are forming pretty nice bottom here and looking for a spike. So these spikes just happening around this 12 to 14 area. Right now we are at 1636, and VIX slightly just gradually build up the momentum. Any kind of like a close above 20, that's going to be a spike up all the way to 27, 29 for VIX, and that's going to happen potentially very soon. So we'll see how it goes. Moving on to Apple. Apple just hit this double top here, rejected going down today. Amazon is the same. Not a double top. It's lower high here, but can't get above this high and rejected again the top. Meta is just forming a pretty nice bullish momentum, pretty close to $780. Microsoft at the same time, just a pretty nice engulfing pattern at this lower high here. I would say this is just a dead cat bounce. This is kind of like A, B, and potentially the C is coming down the road. So we'll see how it goes with Microsoft. As I said before, 468, 470, that's going to be the area for Microsoft to buy. Google just hit the all-time high, came back down, a bearish harami at the top here. Potentially, this move is about to over. Netflix is just forming a pretty nice bearish engulfing and also bearish a bear flag here. So if it goes below this 140, 45, so that would be kind of like the scenario that we go all the way down to 1050. So we'll see how it goes. Tesla, a pretty nice momentum today after yesterday's sell-off. It's just building up a consolidation. 421 right now, close. Pretty good momentum for Tesla. We kind of like a scale down our Tesla But at the same time, we're just waiting for more kind of like a better entry because I believe that Tesla still can go higher. But when market goes to correction, Tesla can go all the way down here as well. Semiconductor index hit new all-time high, came back down at the top. Stocks, the same pattern, hit new all-time high today. Pretty mixed. Nvidia, look at this. So Nvidia is forming a pretty nice lower high. If it goes below this 164, I would say 150 is coming down the road. The same as AMD. AMD had a nice bounce, but seems like it's kind of like a rolling over to the downside. And we can see a nice momentum if it gets below this 140, 149, 150, momentum to 115 to 130. That's the area that I'm looking at for AMD as a great buying opportunity. Taiwan Semiconductor, pretty nice sell-off at the top. So this is a top information, obviously, 262 close for today, but today we got all the way to 227 as well, get back down. Texas Instrument after yesterday bounced, kind of like a sharp sell-off, and then bounced intraday session. Today, just a mini bounce and then getting back to a downside. I believe Texas can go all the way down to 160. Lam Research hit the all-time high. This is the strongest one among semiconductors, 120 today. XLF, bearish candle today, 53 with a nice lower wick here. KBE just goes all the way to middle of this white range bar. Let me clean this and bounce back up. But if market doesn't help it tomorrow, it can easily go below this gap. And I would say waterfall is coming for KB all the way down to 50 to 53. KRE, the same pattern here. It can go all the way down to 56, 55. JP Morgan, the same, just hit high and then came back down, bearish candle. Goldman Sachs, the same here. And Bank of America, just a form a doji bar here, $50. Gold miners, they are forming the top here. That's what I'm saying, like potentially miners. When miners are leading to the upside, we should just bet on gold. And when miners are leading to the downside, we should bet on the bearish gold and precious metals as well. Bearish engulfing at the top. This means correction is coming for me. GDXJ, the same here. Bearish engulfing on the top. Pretty nice leading indicator for me to get onto the downside. AEM bull flag here, but if it goes down with the entire industry, this can fail. Newmont, the same here, bull flag. We will see how it goes. Moving on to XLE, which is important sector. I believe that they're just forming a pretty nice bullish momentum. If we get above this high, it's not going to be just a simple higher high. It just breaks through above this trend line. Above this 91 can easily lead us to new all-time high. So we will see how it goes. Exxon already broke above this. Today already broke above this. And this is a very nice early sign for the market. So we will see. But I believe that Exxon can easily go all the way up to 124. CVS, which is Chevron, is the same. It's not a higher high, but I believe that if momentum keep grinding higher, this one easily can go to $174 per share. All right, folks, I believe I covered everything. If you like this video, please smash the like button, subscribe to our channel, and have a good one. See you on the chart. Bye-bye.